Welcome. This is Raf's Cast, Tales from MohawkAd. I will give an announcement today that we're gonna give a break for the holidays and gonna return probably mid-January on another episode. Today is the end of half of season one, and I had a privilege to have former Mohawk advertising student Lucy Hernandez, art director at Zulu Alpha Kilo, had a give her precious time to me to talk about life work balance, especially when you're trying to construct a family and at the same time try to construct your career in advertising. That was a great conversation with Lucy, especially with the caliber of work she produced. Now, I would just want to give a nice holidays. If you're listening right now, it's the beginning of December 2021, and we can go from here. See you guys next year. But now, before this, we have this amazing chat with Lucy. Lucy Hernandez, our director from Zulu Alpha Kilo. Welcome to Rascast, Tales from MohawkAd. This is season 2, episode 5. And today I have a pleasure to have the director of Alpha Zulu Kilo, Lucy Hernandez. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm very good, Rob. Very nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. We are here on the class of 2012, isn't it?
It is.
One important question that I will ask Lucy later on in this interview is how to construct a family at the same time you construct your career in advertising. And I think she did that like nobody. She was, let's say, amazing to see how you grow and be able to manage all this together, Lucy. I'm amazed to see that. And I have no doubt since the beginning that you will be able to do that. But I know it needs a lot of logistics, isn't it?
It is. It's super challenging for sure, and it has its ups and downs. But it was always my goal. Like the family, it was super important for me since I was really young. So building and growing my family couldn't be in the way of anything. So I make it.
You made it. Yeah. You definitely made it. All right. So I will come back to that question later on. And right now, I want to get to that moment on 2012 when you finish and you're able to do your internship abroad. You're one of the lucky ones to do the internship abroad in Brazil. So, how was that experience to do internship in a completely different country at Sebastiani branding?
Oh wow. I got a really bad memory, but that moment was one of the most special times of my career. I was one of the luckiest one and I'm super grateful for that. Cuz to me came from Colombia, have a different perspective, different culture, and trying to learn more about different cultures, other peoples, other groups has always inspired me a lot. So
Okay, so
being
I will then give a pause on your explanation. Sorry about that.
no
Tell
worries.
me about coming from Colombia to Canada. How long it was before you went to your internship? How was that process?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So we got to in Canada in 2008. And then I tried right away to go to Mohawk College and asked if I could join a program, but I couldn't speak fluent English. So they
Mm-hmm.
say you have to go back, you need to improve your English. And then my friends and people that I started to know here say you need to go back to high school. And I was coming from university in Colombia. And that to me was like, what? Like I have to go back, wear a uniform. But
Mm-hmm.
like at that time I didn't really realize it, but it was the best thing. It was the quickest way for me to get into the Moha college program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that I did it. I'm still like shy sometimes with my accent, But at a point, I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. I can
I,
understand.
I know that people who listen to this broadcast already mastered the Brazilian accent, so it's our charm. You know,
Yeah.
it's a positive thing. It's not a negative thing. Don't
Yeah.
worry
So
about it.
yeah,
Yes.
for a long time it was negative, but yeah, it's on the past, and now I'm embracing the accent and all of the learnings. So yeah, it took me a year to go to college. So I started the program in 2009, and
Hmm.
it was super challenging. Yeah, at that point, it's like trying to fit into a box or trying to do this and that, and I've always been super shy. So it's never been my forte, like being super like a spokesperson or anything like that. So it was challenging for sure, but it was a very inspiring program, very challenging. So everything else just fade out, and you were just focusing on getting a bunch of things done creatively. And you guys were super challenging. Like it was really nice to go through that process, and it almost takes everything else away. That you're just focusing on what really matters.
I see. When it comes to college, I appreciate that, but it's all the work you guys put together. If you really have the passion, we give the choose you to exercise that passion. That's
Mhm.
pretty much it. And uh, once, so we can now at this point before coming back to the college life. How was that internship? Let's go through your career first. How was that internship in Brazil? Let's come back to Sebastiani branding.
Amazing. Like, yeah, I think one of the most amazing things was people, amazing personalities and humans, and just being really helpful. And to me, like, they were trying to speak to me in Spanish, in English, in Portuguese. So it was like super rich communication. And they focused on branding, and that to me was something that I always wanted to explore. So
Hmm.
the creation of a brand and logos and playing with all that, like the beginning of something. So I was lucky to help them with a project for a Colombian brand. So it was super funny
Oh my
because
God.
yeah, it was super funny because I'll be in Brazil on the phone talking in Spanish to a Colombian shop. So yeah, it was definitely like super fun and learning lots, learning how different it could get from culture to culture, and it's
Hmm.
still being very creative and challenged.
My feeling, completely out of the subject of the podcast, but my feeling is that I think the Colombians and Brazilians are very similar when it comes to lifestyle and how people are and that kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and I felt that. I felt very welcome. I loved the food, the music. So it was
Oh, yeah.
right on a great experience. And I got really good friends that I'm still close to them. So
All right. So you did that with Guilherme, and I probably were Guilherme and Eder and all the gang there. And how was then coming back to be an intern at Low Roche?
so it was scary because for period of time I was completely like I didn't know what was happening back in Canada where the other classmates were doing, and I came
I
back
see.
and most of them already had an internship, some were still looking, some were leaving advertising completely, and I didn't know where to start or how to like approach it because I was away for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I approached Jeff. I can't 100% remember, but trying to get my portfolio in a better shape.
Probably what Jeff is the master of it. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think he mentioned that Low Roche was hosting a portfolio night.
Mm-hmm.
So I took okay that this is my yeah, I
Is it?
gotta show myself in this. And then I always try to really focus on the book, my pieces, like everything on my portfolio, because it was almost like I'm gonna let the creative work speak because I can do it as a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, like speaking and getting clear communication at that point. So yeah, I try to get my portfolio in a really, really good place, and then I went there for portfolio night. and I think it was Pete and Dave at that time, and I really made an impression. So I ended up getting the internship.
That's cool. Did they realize that it was important for you guys to have for you to have that branding experience too on the
Yes,
side?
yes, yes. They were very intrigued by that background, and for sure, like how will I apply my knowledge or my learnings from that experience moving forward.
Into your pieces in your book.
Yes. And then, like, more than anything, like when you're really young and your portfolio is not even in that good shape, they can see your passion and they appreciate that. So I think they saw both, like, they saw something growing and the passion.
Definitely, it's the same
Hmm.
that we saw too in
Yeah.
you,
Oh,
Lucy.
thank
For
you. Thank
sure, yes. Uh, I think it can. I can. We can feel not only the you're showing your work, but the way you show your work. So we can definitely feel like you want to make this happen. So yeah, very good. You were there for a while, then went to Extreme Group. How was that? Sure, it was a freelancing or was a contract. How was that
It
Extreme
was
Group?
a really short, like I was when I was at Le Rouge, I was
Hmm.
applying for different jobs.
Okay.
So I keep hearing back from people. Like it takes time sometimes to hear back or to get some interview, second interview, third interview.
I
But
know.
I
I know.
got, yeah, like I needed to, because it was just an internship. So uh, I got the first offer. And while I was there, Cosette reached out to me with a bigger opportunity. And for sure, like I was looking at the accounts that Cosette had and McDonald's and all of that already like spark light on me.
Uh
So
huh.
yeah. So I'm grateful for the time I had at the group, but it was, yeah, it was short. It also taught me the difference between a really small group of people, a really small agency, and
Hmm.
jumping right into a big place.
Yes.
So it was good to know like where will you fit or what will you like moving forward.
How was that whole? Because you were unstoppable by that time because you're. I can see here your career and the places you're working, and it's mind blowing.
On fire, yeah, I
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I had no distractions by then. Like I will spend nights. They will even put me on hotels almost every week because I was working for so long. Like I didn't have any other distractions. I just wanna do it. And when you're young and it's your first job, you just gotta go at it and being
Yes.
proactive, making the best out of the opportunities you get. And because like I had a really good partnership and we were becoming this dream team and we were doing really good. We started doing
Who was
proactively.
your partner at the time?
Dan Cummins.
Then comes okay.
So
Right.
yeah, really amazing guy, and
Yeah,
we
nice. A super nice guy. Yes.
yeah. So we were having like a really good took off to get
Hmm.
like our foot in the door, and we start getting a bunch of different opportunities with McDonald's, Cheerios. So that like as juniors, we were exposed to really good accounts and brands. And I also was exposed to a lot of female leaders. And that was
Okay.
one thing that
Cool.
kept inspiring me. Like as a woman in the industry, yeah, it has its challenge. There's family, there's this and that. But
Hmm.
was an audience looking at all these women going through amazing projects and at the same time managing to have their kids and their family, and it's chaotic but it's worth it. Like the moments that I'm not doing anything or I'm like I need to be active and
I see how, and I think it's a good point that you touch right there because I think the girls at our classes need to listen to that. That is challenging, but I think it's the right nowadays for most of the years now. There's been a lot of creative directors and people in leadership as women. So I think I think more than half. I would say by my knowledge of seeing what people I know and everything. There is a lot, and I'm extremely happy to see that for 2 decades it's not a madman world anymore. This is a thing for the past. You need to stay on the past, but I know it's hard at the same time.
Yes, and
Oh,
I'm noticing like getting to know female directors, getting to get more females out there. So it's awesome to get how it is possible, and the industry is allowing that to happen.
yes.
And yeah, to me, like I was really worried, like, is this the right moment? Is not the right moment? But after I had my kids, it gave me a bigger purpose. Like I'm gonna inspire my kids. I'm doing this for them. So
Hmm.
it became much stronger. I thought I'll be at a point I will like is advertising in my life for sure. It will
How,
never be away.
but I want to get back to Cosette. Then uh, you've seen those people inspire you, but how was the whole coming to a big agency, the shift in culture, and you getting to the day to day and the process and the assets? How was that mayhem adaptation on? Oh my God, I need to make this work now.
The good thing about the big agencies is that you can rely on a bigger team. So there's a person for everything, and I wasn't afraid to ask questions, and always being like a really, really good listener. So paying attention to all the moves, what other teams were doing, how are they doing things, and trying to learn from everyone, trying to understand the process. And it always changed, like software changes, like structure changes. So always going, like keeping an eye how things
Hmm.
are evolving and
So
never afraid.
so in the beginning, you have to spend the long hours and
Yes, for
definitely
sure.
okay. So
Yeah, you
that's
have to make sure you make a mark at the beginning and spend as much hours as I can. Like sometimes I'll be looking at a project and thinking that I'm done, but I wasn't done. Like next day I will approach it again and approach it again and again till, like, if I left the first week thinking that it was done, it will never evolve as much. So I was always like going back and
what do you say to a student who is kind of angry because we ask for one revision?
like revisions are always an opportunity to grow. Like it's important to hear where the feedback is coming from and understand how to make it better. Like feedback is always to make things better. So always
Hmm.
appreciate. Like sometimes when I don't get feedback, I'm worried that something's wrong.
I see.
So yeah,
Where is it? Like, where is it?
no, like I think I guess I take feedback like a way to make things better.
Hmm. All right. So, can you tell me one campaign at Cosette that you're proud of the most, the one that you're uh, have more fun with it or proud of being part of?
There are many, like my time at concert was amazing, and I had tons of fun with McDonald's and lots of female leaders on the client side that inspired me too. But I will say that the Cheerios effect was one of the most meaningful to me because it was eye opening, like getting to know there's different connections. I came from Colombia, a very traditional place, very traditional family where most things are banned, and coming back and creating a campaign about all sorts of love and connections, single dads, like all sorts of different connections. It was wide opening to me and appreciating the culture and learning. Like it was a very good learning experience about Canada and embracing the love and connections of people through a campaign. So we had a lot of fun just even casting, getting to know these amazing humans and finding great stories to tell.
Can you tell the listeners how the campaign was the main idea behind it?
So the main
Uh,
idea behind it is that it's a scientific fact. that when you put two Cheerios on a bowl of milk, they come together. So because of that, we wanted to find people that come together through different circumstances. So we have an Indian guy marrying an Asian woman and
Hmm.
telling us her story, and different challenges like two dads adopting her their first daughter. So hearing how these connections happen and how it happens, it was super inspiring.
That's very good. Okay, do you have, so in the end, do you have a portfolio link that we can send to the students? Okay,
Yes.
I have it here, but you're gonna say to them that they can check it out, the work, the amazing work that you did. I would I would say that, uh, what made you, after pretty much 2 years at COSAT and working with this amazing client, say, maybe it's time to go to Leo Burnett and have some fun there?
I think my partner and I were both like, we're doing so good. What else is next? Like, what's out there? Like, just really curious about the other side because it was our first real job. So we
Hmm.
started like looking for things. We got two different job opportunities. So we take separate ways. He went to a different agency,
Hmm.
and I really like since I was in university in Colombia, I keep hearing about Leo Burnett. So getting an
Yeah.
offer to me there was like, okay, this is huge. So yeah, I didn't have any doubts about going to that place, and it's just really like the smartest people in there. So it was really nice to get closer to them, hear from them, see how they move around.
Hmm.
So it was really inspiring, and it also very supportive because when I was at Leo for over 5 years. But 2 of those years, I went on mat leave and had my two kids.
Hmm.
So they were really supportive and family first, and at the same time giving me some exposure, like good projects, knowing that I was gonna be away, like I was pregnant at the time. So I appreciate all the projects that I had the opportunity to work in there. I didn't have a partner, and it was hard to get one because I was leaving or coming back and leaving again.
I
But,
see.
but it's again like I never, like at the beginning I was really looking to have that same partnership that I had before, get exposure to bigger projects. But I'm super grateful to being able to work from being a mentor to juniors or working with senior writers, a bunch of different writers, so a big range of different people.
Hmm.
So it was super fulfilling for me.
And how do you learn on working with different writers? Do you make you a more versatile kind of adaptation of yourself,
Yes,
or how is
yes,
it?
and you're learning. Yeah, there's different perspectives. Like if you stick to the same thinking, there's no
Hmm.
way to do it differently. So it was super nice to get to know them. It takes time to break the ice and stuff, but when you're speaking about creative ideas, you there's not much to it. So you just go for it. You shoot for the stars.
What I would say is, that you felt on going from Costat to Leo. What is the kind of difference on the agency culture and structure, that you say that you have to adapt?
Yeah, for sure. Like agencies, all agencies are a different place and different environment. And even Leo Burnett itself, every time I went back, it was a different place. So the
Oh.
people, the new people, like it changes a lot. The new accounts, and then Cosette was really like an open place, an open concept place. Everyone was on the same room together. And then at
Hmm.
Leo, we all have different rooms, and we were all separated, and there were few rooms to get together and brainstorm. So structural, it felt very different and disconnected. Sometimes
Hmm.
I enjoy that privacy, but sometimes I'm missing having everyone in there.
Okay.
So for
Okay.
sure, like the vibes are different.
we're coming back to this subject because both of the vibes are now changed to online. So somehow, so we're gonna go back to this shortly.
For sure.
uh, okay, so can you remind me some of the work you did at Leo Burnett and that you remember we did you say, oh my god, I did this? How
Cool.
was?
Yeah, like at Leo, you get exposure to many brands and do a lot of little jobs in GMC and Buick or Robin Hood. Like you get a lot of exposure to different things. But the big projects in there for me, one was working on Canadian Tire Olympics. So
Mhm.
developing a campaign for the Olympics and thinking about creative ways to spread the word across Canada. Like all of that was super exciting and challenging again.
I will be
So
extremely excited to work on a client like that. Oh my god.
yeah. So for sure, like we will be excited to come up with new things and solutions and creative things for the project.
But it was the Summer Olympics or the Winter Olympics?
Winter Olympics.
Oh, the one in Vancouver.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, that's pretty good. Uh, all right. So you went then to work shortly at Publicis. How was that change, and what made you say, "Oh my God, I think it's better to me to move to another place"? Or
So I was
I say,
actually like I had my daughter and I came back to the industry on January 2020.
okay,
So I came back to Leo and thinking, okay, I need to make a change in my life. Now I have two little kids.
I can
So I
imagine that.
started, yeah. So I started looking because the commute was a big part for me. Like it almost takes 2 hours from door to door in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon to get back from Toronto to Hamilton. I
Hmm.
always been commuting. I never make the move to Toronto, and I'm glad I never did. But like at the beginning, I loved it. Like I love being away from work and from home and just being there listening to a podcast or reading a
It's kind of your time.
it was,
Your
yeah,
time. Yeah,
like
your time.
or even
That's
it
good.
was sometimes productive. I will get into a job and finish it while on the train, get home, and not have to worry about anything else.
Okay.
But when I had my kids, it became okay, this is not working. I need to get home faster, or I need to pick up the kids, or whatever reason it was. So at the beginning, when I went back on 2020 to 2020,
Hmm.
was already like starting to look for other options. And then on May, after we have the pandemic hit and we started all working from home, a bunch of us were laid off from Leo. So like around 30 of my coworkers and myself
Hmm.
were laid off from Leo, and that to me was like,
It's
okay,
part of life. Part of
it was
any
it
everybody.
was
Yeah.
super helpful actually. Like it wasn't the pause that I needed. Like I
Mm,
needed to take a break,
I
focus on the
see.
family, see what I really wanted to do because I was already struggling to find a solution. I was already like, how am I gonna do this now? How am I gonna tackle it? Like I still want to do it. So it was a nice break
Hmm.
to rethink things. I started like contacting some of the my friends and people that I work with and trying to still have like an NAC or like have a
Hmm.
couple of competitions and keep things in there just for
To
fun.
keep busy and the mind
Yeah.
operating that way, that really
And
work.
then I think for policies it was just a contract and I said, okay, why not? I'll be doing it from home. It's just a contract. Let's try it.
Hmm.
So it was super fun. It was Mercedes Benz, and I had a little bit of experience working on cars before. So it felt natural. And that
Hmm.
time over there was really great people. I worked with Wendy too on
Oh,
the
Wendy. Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
so
Wendy.
really great. And
Hmm.
then while I was on that contract, I say, okay, I need to get back to the industry. This is what I like. And let's take the advantage now of working from home. So I started
Hmm.
looking for more, and then I was reached out by Mackenzie. Client side, completely different. And I thought, okay, maybe, why not? I might have a better chance to have a better balance between home and work. So I gave that a try. I'm glad that I did. Lots of learnings. But at a point, I was lacking.
All right, so let's stop there.
Yeah.
How was that big change on working client side, and how was it for you? How was because it's a big change, and it's a lot of things changing there. How can you tell students who plan to do that on their career, or what is the advantage and disadvantage of doing that kind of change? Because any decision have the two sides. Can you tell me the two sides of that change?
Yeah. I think you need to have a little bit of experience to go client side.
Okay,
I think, I don't know,
fair enough.
in my experience, I think it's work because when you are a creative on a client side agency, they relied on you for many things. Like I will prep a post and they will put it right away on their channels. And there's no studio, there's no anything. Like you gotta be really proactive
Handy.
and yeah, like have experience of the things that you do. Be certain.
There's no production team and
Yeah, there's
execution to
not that
finish it.
many layers to things. You're talking directly to them, getting things approved on the so there's a quicker pace.
Okay,
But yeah, if you relied on designers and photography and this and that, it might get a little challenging. But it depends on the place too. There's some agencies inside client side that are fully like developed and
okay.
great. But to
So
me,
so to get the assets, it's not as fast as.
yeah, and I
Okay.
find like you have to wear many hats. Like you have to become every person that helped you before.
Okay. That's the reason you shouldn't forget some of the skills you have. So
Yeah, and it's nice. It's nice. Like it's also I never realized that people were looking at like asking me for advice or how to do things and like almost having a little bit of a leadership. So that
hmm
was like I wasn't expecting that to happen. So it was nice. It was a nice experience and being able to be a bit of a mentor and lead the brand to different places. So
I guarantee that experience will be helpful in the future for you,
for
and it's
sure, for
already
sure.
it's already helpful. So I
It
think
is.
it will begin to collecting all those experiences and see and learn how to be that specific leader person,
Yes.
mentoring person. Yes. So.
Yes, yeah, and that to me, with the time, I was just lacking the creative environment. Like, where is the people that always inspire me, or where is the people that are always challenge me?
hmm
So that was the main reason why. Like, I'm doing this and doing it with all my heart. Might as well do something that I will enjoy as well.
Well, from there, in the last 4 months, you'll come back to the industry when it comes to agencies, and you're working at Zulu Alpha Kilo. So, how was how was that? Oh my God, I need to get in into like, oh my God, I will go back. How was that?
Yeah, like I was looking at my book. There's things that I feel very proud of, but I felt like I wasn't adding much to it, like anymore. That I needed to do it again, like have those home runs on my portfolio again. So I'm really grateful because Zulu is a place that is looking for that, looking to get awards, looking to be more creative, and
hmm
it's a really, really nice, exciting place to be right now. So I'm grateful that it took me a couple of tries back then, like client side or contracts or what am I gonna do next, and I landed on a place where they really push creative forward.
How was the uh, saying of let's touch that subject now? Even the pandemic was a worldwide tragedy, but at the same time, it shifted the industry in some ways, the way people work, and that is interesting for me. How you're feeling on the kind of working online, and at the same time what do you think the future will be? Like a hybrid or coming back? And how is that thing working for you? As you told me that you like the Cosette open space, and sometimes you like the Leo environment that you can have some kind of privacy and on time to work. And now, how is the this new perspective of working in the past few years that you have to do everything remote most of the time? So.
Yeah, it has taught us that it is possible. Like there's no real obstacles. Like we can all do our jobs from home, being more productive than ever. And it has its ups and downs too. Like sometimes when I started at Zulu, I felt like my agency was only this 10 people that I'm interacting with when it's really over 100 people. So you're missing, sometimes it feels like you're missing out on what's happening. Like I used to appreciate going around the office and looking at the boards of work of other people, what we're
Hmm.
doing. So there's benefits, and there's also like that is very important to keep that in-person collaboration. So I'm definitely very excited for a hybrid structure because it will benefit me in so many levels. Like
I see.
I need to, it's very productive to say 4 hours a day of commuting, being here for my family. I can still do my job and being able to be at the office and collaborate and get my hands on in many other things. So I'm definitely excited for that.
I think it's a dream situation for a person like you.
It is.
It's like because you can now have the proper time staying at home and working from home, and at the same time you still can have that environment if you go there some days and have that kind of energy coming back to recharge you.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and then some agencies are doing really good with like doing strategies to keep employees like very happy and excited, and yoga and doing this and that, or
Hmm.
getting your computers off after 5, like whatever they're doing, like they're thinking about your mental health and trying to get you more active. So I appreciate that side too. Like it's not only
I know, and I'll only
yeah,
go and work home. Yeah, I
yeah,
I
because
really
it
understand
can
that.
get very exhausted. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, it was nuts. Like I will be cooking with one hand, my kid and then my leg, my computer on top. Like it was nuts and trying, but you like you go through the challenge and you learn how to manage it better.
Hmm. Well, what is there any work that you already publish at Zulu that you can talk about, that you work on, that you
So
can talk about? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Recently, we just finished a campaign for Subaru. So it's the
Sure.
retail side of Subaru, and we launched it for the holidays. So we were inspired by "It's a Wonderful Life," the movie,
Uh
which
huh.
is actually like it's the 75 anniversary when it came out. So it ties nicely to our campaign. So we're just celebrating like a couple of the holidays and offers and things like that. So it's already up on air.
My point of view, I think it's Subaru is such a unique brand, car brand, and in a specific place that it's amazing. It will be amazing client to work with. It's
It is
you're
like
lucky. Yeah.
yeah, I work with different car brands. Some had a really good budget, some didn't, and this one just have a really good benefit and it's super cool. So it keeps it help us
Hmm.
create more, and it opens the door for more.
That's great. I wanted you to talk about. Can you talk to us two other campaigns that you work and that you think would be beneficial to students to listen of the creative process of two other campaigns that you work with? It could be small campaigns, big. It's just something that you think students will benefit of listening of the process to come up with the idea you had with your team.
Okay, yeah, I guess like Canadian Tire, the Olympics, it was a 360 campaign. Like we did everything except TV. TV was another team of creatives that did it, but we did absolutely. So it was super nice to go through all of the different steps from print to digital to pre-roll videos and this and that, and then being challenged to do things that you never done before. Like while I was working on it, the copywriter that I was working on wasn't able to be on set. I can't remember why. There was another reason why he wasn't in there, and
Mm-hmm.
we had to do an interview for Haley Wickenheiser.
Oh my God.
And of course, you get that person in front of you, and it could be intimidated, but very inspiring to hear from her. And my
Mm-hmm.
creative director went like, "Lucy, just go and interview her." And I went like, "Why as paper?" He's like, "Run the interview. You can do it." And I was like, "Okay." So I was the one asking her the questions, and at the beginning you're like, I'll never do this in my life, I will never ask to do it, but when I was there just getting her vibes and her answer, it just felt
Natural.
natural. Yeah, so it like not being afraid to do the things that you are not supposed to do, or suggest on something or comment. Like there's way too many things to learn outside of your comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
so don't be afraid of getting out of that.
Can you tell me one more campaign? One more work.
More campaign. Yeah, I guess with from the experience of Cheerios, I try to look for that again, like working with real people, trying to get that in my life, because it's really nice to highlight what real scenarios and things that resonate with people. So for
Mm-hmm.
TD, we were doing a campaign where it was all about real people, real couples. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get real couples on set and ask them questions, and they wouldn't know how to answer them, or they didn't know each other's RSPs, or like it was just feeling really real, and people were like answering really, like responding really well to that because it resonated with them. And then from that, we moved into kids. So we asked a simple question: what do they think money come from? So we got super fun question for kids thinking the money came from trees, or like just getting
Uh-huh.
that awareness out there that we needed to have a money conversation, if it was for couples or kids, and getting it for real people. It was really nice too. Like you don't always have to be staging something or writing a script, or like you can use your.
This is a new question that I will start to ask now for alumni that I'm interviewing like this. Uh, what I want to know, you work with different copywriters and different agencies, different places, and how is the process changing from people to people? Ideas on paper, gather research, strategy first, and then begin to do thumbnails or writing ideas or just discussions or in associations. How that process it is for you after so many different people brainstorming with you different methods. Do you get one method that really works well and begin to develop that? How is that for you?
It has evolved. Like it's never been. I'm doing the same thing all over and all over again, learning from different tactics from other creatives and stuff like that. Now with the digital war and working from home, it's a bit more challenging. Like you don't have the freedom to just bounce an idea to, like, you have to make a call or you have to write a message, and sometimes it's not always clear. So making sure you're really communicating live, because it could get really tricky sometimes. And I guess like we always like really try to understand the brief, highlight the things that we like from a brief, and go from there and start creating like different territories, what could work for each of the territories, and just go nuts, nuts, nuts. And then we revisit things again and see if this connected anymore, or if it works. And we always come back to things and try to have like a bigger umbrella, and the all of the ideas under it.
Good. Amazing, Lucy. I would ask Dan now, as you told today in this chat, how is to mentor juniors? And how was this? You were one of the books that people review at Low Roach years and years ago, almost 10 years ago. And how it is now for you to be the one to review those books and take a look on those books. And what kind of things you see and say, oh my God, I can't believe this person did that and spoiled the whole book? Or what kind of mistakes you see that you would tell the students, avoid, don't do that?
Yeah, I haven't like I never saw myself in a position where I'll be like mentoring or reviewing portfolios or doing that. Like I always felt like people were doing that to me. So when I started doing it, it was super fun. Like it's really nice
Mhm.
to because you can feel that these students are so passionate and want to get there, and sometimes not necessarily have the skills, but you can see the
Mhm.
talent and the insight.
Potential. You can see potential.
Yeah, so it's super curious. Like I stop judging things from like if you're blowing me away by how it looks already a plus, but sometimes it's just trying to look at the insights, the concepts more than what I was looking at. Because sometimes it takes time. It takes time. Like I'm still learning. Like you're always learning
Hmm.
to get better and improve your skills and stuff. So yeah, to me is like what's calling my attention is the idea more than any.
The idea itself,
Yeah.
that, from the students.
Yes.
And what kind of do you think there's something that you say, avoid doing that, don't do this, for to help them not include something or not do, or don't forget to
I guess
include
there's
this?
things that people tell you it works or it doesn't work, but there's certain things that you feel like you know it, like you feel it that it works and everybody else doesn't. So if you believe in something, try to prove that it works. And sometimes it's the other way around. Like as juniors, like you will be married to an idea and not being able to leave that idea for something else. So let yourself loose and open other doors and explore other things. So it's tricky. It's tricky because sometimes you think you got it and sometimes you do got it. So
Hmm.
it's super tricky to know if it's effective or not. And sometimes the best way to try it is to see people reactions to it. Make it as simple and not having like a long journey to explain something.
It's funny you say that, Lucy, because I don't think the students understand to have an open sandbox with all the clients that they can have to do any work, and they still do something that is shy and don't go through it. And how your suggestion when they have all this on their hands to do work for their book?
Eh, like I think you have to narrow it down to the strongest ideas. And it's tricky. It's tricky. It's a tricky situation because it happens to me all the time too. Like we got so many need, but you have to start the conversations. You have to reach out to people, talk
Hmm.
to people, and get more insights or kill some of the stuff.
Okay, so I want you to tell me what is the your website for the students before we go to the final questions.
Sure. The website is lucyed.com. So lucyed.com. So just my name. And yeah, you can find me in there or on LinkedIn is the easiest.
And Lucy Hernandez on
Yes.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
And what? Uh, so have you received email from the students want to check their book? How many of them you receive a day or
Not as
a week?
often. Not as often anymore. Like it used to be really often. And I think
Okay.
because I switched jobs and emails and places and this and that, I
I
started
see.
losing some of the connection. But some people do reach on LinkedIn, and that's the one that remains. Like there's no interruptions or anything, and I'm active on LinkedIn so I can get
So
by.
that's a stronger path to you
It
to
is,
have.
yes. Yeah, I'm always happy to have a conversation. Like I know so many females in the industry have many doubts and stuff, but I'm happy. Like it's possible, and if you're passionate about something, you can do it.
What would be your suggestions to third year students who are now going to January and have to start do the internship thing because there's just 7 weeks left on the program? What would be your suggestion to them?
Like never be afraid to ask questions and stuff. Like I wasn't a very talkative person by then, and I didn't feel like I was the one that was gonna make the big impact and talk to everyone on a meeting, and like I felt shy.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean that you cannot shine. Like if you focus on your job and your work and you're passionate about it, there's ways to show that light on you. So never worry that you have to be the best presenter in the world or this and that. Like you got talent, you got skills, just do it.
Uh, Final words, Lucy, on what do you think would be the future of what advertising is becoming now as we're shifting from a very I know that regular media is to exist, the out of home and legacy, but what do you think is shifting now to be the advertising industry shifting to be? What do you think our students should focus on? Because this is what's coming to the advertising industry on your vision, on your opinion.
Yeah, digital for sure. Like everything's shifting. We're less and less doing things like on paper, but there's also that nostalgia and that the really great things on the way we were doing things before. But I think we are all shifting to a more digital world,
Hmm.
more yeah, and more of the connections on social media and how we are all connected that way, and how do we make those connections better. And it's challenging too because you don't want to be on your screen the whole time, so you want to make that meaningful. So it's just not, because it's really cool. Like digital work and creative is super cool, but how we make it more meaningful in our lives, in our everyday lives, because it's part of our lives now. So
Hmm.
how do we make a difference in the digital world?
Yeah, I think it's very complex.
Hmm.
It sounds easier, but it is it. I agree that it's more complex than
Yeah,
it was before.
and for students, like if you can look at all of the projects submitted for awards, all the things that are happening around the world, like case studies, this and that, like you grab inspiration on how much we are evolving, or knowing that you could do trains to Instagram certain ways, like learning, because it keeps evolving every time, and you might not know that there's other ways to tackle ideas.
Hmm.
And I'm not looking at like looking at other ideas, but looking at other tactics, other technologies, other ways to approach something.
So that's a good part of the what kind of weapons you have to approach
Mm-hmm.
things differently. And
Mm-hmm.
do you think this kind of stuff is as important as the idea itself sometimes to get associated with the perfect execution in the perfect place?
Idea will always be the hero, and how you execute that idea, it takes it to the next level. So
Okay.
it's important to know how to.
Lucy, you know that this podcast is called Tales from MohawkAd. For that reason, I want you to finish this, let's say, two founding memories of your time at Mohawk College.
Oh boy, many memories. not as clear on my mind, but I remember like working on that. What was it? Yeah, Tim Hortons, that we have to shoot a full commercial for Valentine's. And I got married. Matt proposed with a donut on my finger.
Okay.
So that was super fun to do. We were just like going crazy with it, and like it was really nice to have access to all of the equipment and all the resources and things, and learning how to like control things. So
Hmm.
I always love like the photography aspect, the video, like all of that. It was super fun, and the tasks that we were asked to do were always super fun. It was the one for share your heart. It was super meaningful too. That we were
Hmm.
sharing some compassion to our classmate who lost her mother. So
Yes, I remember that.
yeah, so at that time, there's some things that you can do to show compassion, and it was super simple. Just show us your heart, and it become really big, super big.
Hmm.
I think it went viral.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that commercial that you did, that a print ad that you did. No commercial, print ad that you did. It was a that violence against women that have a man's hand on. How
Mm.
was that? Can you tell the listeners on that work?
It was super fun because I like I was on one of the print ads. Some of my girlfriends were on the print ad, and then we had Matt just grabbing ads, or like we had to change uh, something in the visual. So we were like posing for these pictures and have a man grabbing us, and then Photoshop her his hand into her arms. So it was
Hmm.
looking like you were trapped in your own body by this other guy. So it was a challenge at that point for Photoshop.
Uh huh.
How do we tweak this? How do we make it real? So lots of tutorials, lots of tries, lots of trying to improve this image quality so it reads how we wanna.
But as you said, the it was very impactful. It was very. We can get the idea right away, and I think that's, as you said, the idea is king on that part. And
Also, and I think yeah, there's lots of learnings on that because we started like it necessarily doesn't need to be copy heavy or this and that. Like let's just think of the idea first and make an impact.
mhm. Amazing. Lucy, thank you so much for your time and inspiring our students. And definitely, I hope some of the uh, Colombian students, because you did 1 year of advertising in Colombia before
Yeah,
coming here, isn't it? So
yeah.
if you keep in touch with some of your peers in Colombia too, I hope they listen to this. And for all the students who will be inspired by your path, and I thank you so much for talking to us today.
No, thank you. I hope I can be helpful and
No
thank you
problem.
so
Let's
much.
let's let's go through your website again. www.
Lucyed.com, LUCYED.com.
Com. Amazing. So that's it for this is the last episode of the first half of season 2. We're coming back mid January for another former Mohawk Ad advertising student. Thank you so much, Lucy, and have a nice end of the year.
Amazing, you too. Enjoy your holidays, Ralph.